Hello everybody, Ian here. Hope you're doing well. Today's video is going to be about my transition from Wake Tech to Wingate and then my journey at Wake Tech for 1 year. Now, if you have not watched my experience at a small school video or my education video, please go check those out before you watch this one. It will make a lot more sense to you if you do that. So, about a year ago, physically, my Wake Tech journey got started. I took a summer class, learned a little bit more about how Wake Tech works, what it's like. Obviously not the full experience, but some, a little taste for it. And during the summer last year, I quit running and it was tough. I had a hard time quitting. It was a very tough decision. I feel like I got a little bit depressed about it. And I had family, friends telling me, Ian, don't do this. Ian, don't do this. I had some friends telling me do, but felt like more don't say, that said, don't leave Wingate and versus stay. But anyway, decided to just, do what I thought was best for me. And I decided to leave and I went to Wake Tech. And the first semester, let me tell you what an experience it was. So the first semester came around, started, and, this was my leap of faith for the first time. I think it was arguably even a bigger leap of faith than going to Wingate from the start. And so for those who don't know, Wake Tech is a community college within North Carolina. It's the biggest one in North Carolina. It's very known. And for a community college, it's pretty good. It's pretty competitive. It's pretty good stuff, pretty good teachers, hard teachers. So anyway, it's pretty known. It's a pretty big deal in Raleigh, in the Triangle area. And so anyway, I went to one about 30 minutes away from my house, the campus. So it was a little bit of a drive. I have always been close to schools growing up. And it was a little bit of experience getting to drive that far. First time really having a car to school. So that was experience in itself. Living at home again was kind of hard. First time not in many years being on a sports team. So those were pivotal factors, very important factors that made all this experience kind of the way it happened. So anyway, also during the first semester, I was working on the weekends, 15 hours of classes, and then I had an internship. So when you do the change of just, the change of schooling and stuff, and then the life change of working and stuff like that, the internship and the school, there was a lot of change going on. And it was a lot to take in, kind of like the first semester at Wingate. I had to learn where all my classes were and stuff like that, where to park, all this kind of nitty gritty details. So it was a process, but I still went to Wake Tech. First semester came, kind of rolled through, and halfway through the semester, I changed my major. I did. It was the hardest thing to do, probably one of the hardest things. So throw that on top of everything else. And one of the big things I learned is that approach in what you do will change you forever. I heard somebody say, somebody I know and trust, a writer up in New York say, yeah, I know a writer up in New York. I'm crazy maybe, but I seriously do. Anyway, I know a writer in New York, he said, and this has stuck with me ever since I heard him say this, and it's so true in life, your approach is what people buy and what people will not buy. And in other words, what that's saying is that the way you do something can make you or break you. And that is so true. You can apply that to school. You can apply that to anything in life, whether you're trying to get a job or trying to get a promotion, you name the skill or whatever you want. It's about our approach. And, some people don't want to listen to that or you want to tune that out. And I think I wanted to for a short time after I heard of that. But then again, I started thinking like, wow, that is so true. So I kind of just thought, this is just a different approach to something. Let's just take it with a grain of salt and go with it. So that's something I've learned that's just stuck with me. So that's the big first takeaway. And again, I have a lot of takeaways. I could be talking about this for half an hour, but for the sake of a video, I'm going to keep it short. So that's my first big takeaway from a community college in general. Now, the second big takeaway is social life. I had minimal social life at Wake Tech, and it got better a little bit in the second semester, but during the first semester, it was pretty minimal. I learned a lot about myself, though, let me tell you. That was the one thing that I think I did more than anything this year. I just learned a lot about myself and how I work and how I think and how I can improve myself. And I have done a lot of improving and a lot of change over the past year in a good way for the most part. So anyway, yeah, so I learned also that, so the second thing kind of with the social life is that, you know, Wake Tech is for grinders, kind of like me. It's just for people who put their head down and work or want to just, you know, they just want a simple life of just school and grinding of a job. They don't want all that extra stuff. Well, that's perfect for Wake Tech. Like, that's literally the best description for it. So that's the second thing I learned. The third big piece I learned was consistency. And I knew this before, but it was magnified. It was really, really, really magnified. And an example is, you know, the first semester rolled through, end of the semester came, exams came, got my grades, was not happy. And I was like, oh my goodness, what do I need to do here to make them better the second semester, or else I'm going to be in a trap. I don't want to be here in Raleigh for the rest of my life. I don't want to be at Wake Tech. I want to get out and go back to university where I belong, so somewhere. So, you know, consistency is what matters. In other words, I got declined from UNC Wilmington, and, you know, I got declined early. It was early spring. I can't exactly remember the time, but it was before spring break. I know that. And, you know, anyway, I was like, man, I gotta figure this out. So what I started doing is I wrote down every single assignment practically, even if it was a 5-minute assignment, less than 5 minutes. Every single assignment I wrote down on my agenda, and let me tell you, that paid off, and I'm going to be doing that for the rest of the time I'm in a university setting, maybe even at my job. I haven't thought about that far yet. But anyway, writing down everything, it's consistent. It makes the difference, all the difference in the world. So consistency is what matters. I've tried to plan so much, and I'll explain more of that in a second. So that's the third thing I learned. So anyway, you know, the second semester rolled around, you know, got declined early on, had a great Christmas break. Anyway, second semester rolled around, had a little bit of a better schedule, had some better classes I thought I could do better in. Well, let me tell you, the second semester was a total knockout. In other words, I killed it. I did really well, or I thought I did well at least. I worked hard. I actually didn't mess around, and yeah, it was awesome. I was waking up early, going to school. I was being consistent, waking up, getting to school early, getting the work done, getting out of there, going home, eating lunch, working on it some more, going to work. And yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I honestly missed the grind low-key a little bit in some ways. It's nice though this summer. But anyway, and the second thing I learned during that second semester, so the fourth thing, is that you can grow anywhere. You can grow with your grandparents. You can grow as a person with your family. And again, some of this is going to be harder, you know, in harder situations than others, or it might be easier in some situations. But you can grow anywhere. I grew so much living at home. I did. I mean, you know, I just learned how to deal with it, how to cope with it, and just kept running with it. So that's the another big thing I learned. And so anyway, the quarantine hit. Spring break hit. It was all right there together. I had a 2-week spring break, which was kind of a blessing and a curse. I guess it was a blessing looking back, but at the moment it was kind of bad too, because like there was still assignments due, and I don't know, it was all right. But you know, the end of the semester rolled around, and I was planning to send in the GPA, or the you know, the transcript, as my GPA went up, and so, you know, I decided to send it in. And let me tell you, I'm glad I sent it in, because I got into UNC Wilmington, and it just felt like I was on top of the world. All those haters, all those people who said, don't leave Wingate, I just feel like I just proved them wrong pretty recently when I got in. So, yeah, that's what my journey at Wake Tech, again, planning was the fifth piece I learned. You got to plan. You have to plan. If you want to do something big, you got to plan. It takes planning. If you want to go be a manager at X place, you want to go do X thing, you got to plan for it. Think about it. You want to go on a vacation, you got to plan for it, at least a little bit. And planning is really important in life. So those are my 5 big takeaways from being at a community college, and some other thoughts about my experiences. And I hope you like this video. Comment, like, subscribe. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time. And my next video is going to be on UNC Wilmington, so stay tuned for that. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Thanks.